You are listening to the Universal Consciousness Show, the show for the thinking global citizen. So I want to welcome all of you to another hour of some of the stuff that is very hard to find in the major fake news media. We will try to entertain you, we'll try to educate you, we'll open your mind, at least crack the door a little bit so you can see a little bit of the light shining through to you, because it is out there. Hey, my name is Augie, and I'm one of the hosts, and my co-host Diana is over in Germany. Are you there, Diana?
I'm here. Hello, everyone.
Hi. Yeah, she is 5,539 miles away from me, and I actually measured that. So, yeah, and first of all, I want to let you know that those of you that want to connect with us, then just go to listen where we archive these shows, and also you can send us a message on the website. You'll find us at www.universalconsciousness. Let me do that again. www.universal-consciousness-show.com. And we are on YouTube under Universal Consciousness Show. We're on Facebook under my name, and also Universal Consciousness Show, and on Twitter and a few other places. So you can find us. And also, when you get there, please subscribe to YouTube, because that'll help us. And also, you will get a notice when a new show comes up, so you won't miss one. And also, then keep a pen and a piece of paper close by, because very often we come up with something brilliant that maybe you just want to write down. Today we have a very interesting guest with us. His name is Jim Andre, and he is a healer. He's a paranormal researcher, and he's an alien abductee and a frequent radio guest. And we are going to talk about, he's doing some very interesting healing practices. We talked before the show, and he told me some really, really interesting and very effective methods and results that he's getting with his healing. And of course, the abduction, that will be a story all by itself. So welcome to the show, Jim.
Welcome. I'm glad to be here, and thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Hello, Jim, and thank you so much for being here with us today.
Hello, it's my pleasure.
For the beginning, in case some people don't know you yet, could you tell us in a squeezed story, how did it all begin, and what brought you to this healing path?
Okay, well, I'm located in Massachusetts. I'm going to explain the abduction as I can recall it. I was sitting here at the computer, and it was about, well, that particular night, the last thing I remember is looking at the lower right-hand corner of the computer monitor, and it said 9:15 p.m. And before I know it, I'm just waking up like in a daze, wondering where I was at, looking around the room. I looked over to the alarm clock, and it was 2:57 a.m., which I coincidentally usually get up 3 in the morning to go to work. I work part-time for a bus company. I leave the house early. But that particular night, I didn't even set the alarm because I hadn't gone to sleep yet or gone to bed yet. And so I'm in a daze. I'm looking around the room trying to, gather my thoughts. And all of a sudden, I felt this intense burning sensation on my right forearm. And I looked down at my arm, and there was a tattoo. At that point, I wasn't sure whether I was actually awake or dreaming. But when the reality of what transpired hit me, I was, I don't know, the only way I could explain it is I was beside myself. I did take a picture of it that I didn't even recall taking a picture of, that I found, in my files on my computer recently when it first appeared on my arm. Now, the tattoo itself, it wasn't like a conventional tattoo. Conventional tattoo, when it heals, it will, um, you know, turn into a scrape or an abrasion. It will scab up, and it takes about maybe 7 to 10 days to heal. This tattoo here had more of a burning sensation to it, and it blistered rather than scabbing up. And when it peeled like a sunburn, and it healed within 3 days.
Mm.
Hmm.
So that tattoo, though, did it look different also? Was it colorized or anything?
Well, I was actually on a local radio station show in my area. There was a tattoo expert on there that examined the picture. He said something looked different about it. I also have a friend that is a photo shop expert, and I sent him a picture. He put it into Photoshop there and did what he did to it. He didn't alter it in any way, but he had used some kind of sequence or something to go in depth to see, like, like layers of the tattoo itself in depth. And lo and behold, we could actually see some symbols in there that you can't see with a naked eye on my forearm. One of them was like an astronaut. You could make out the outline of the astronaut, the helmet, and the air tank on the back, and other images in there that you can't see with the naked eye.
Oh, so those images, were they embedded into the writing?
Yes,
itself?
somehow, I don't know how he did it exactly. I'm gonna do a live on Facebook one day soon with Larry. That's his name, and we can explain it. Or he can explain it better than I can. But yeah, them images did appear that are unable to be seen with the naked eye on the forearm itself.
Hmm. So that was embedded in the line of writing then?
Well, in the image itself, yeah,
Oh.
in different places of the tattoo itself, it had like smaller images of alien figures.
Huh. Did any of those figures look kind of like maybe the gray or?
Yes, they look like the grays, and the tattoo that is on my arm is it resembles a gray. Yeah.
Ah, wow. Well, the grays are the worker bees, I guess, and they're everywhere.
And I didn't go public with this till I think it was like last year, maybe about a year and a half ago. I mean, but holding it in wasn't good either. I mean, by going public with it, it's like a big relief and
Yeah.
basically like a therapy type thing for me.
Well, you have evidence there, and those images that are in it, they show up more so than when he enhanced them, evidently.
Correct.
Yeah, you couldn't really see them much just with the regular eye.
And another thing is it morphs. In other words, I can show pictures that, for example, when I first took it, when it first appeared on my arm, in the forehead area of the alien image itself, it was like blank, like just skin color. And now there's filling in there with different.
Has it faded out some over time, or?
No, not faded out. Actually, came in.
Oh.
In other words, it was like nothing there, and now more. It seems like more ink is appearing, and it's different than what it was when it was first when it first appeared on my arm.
Yeah. Do you have any memories or flash?
I have a vague memory. The only way I can explain it is like having something on the tip of your tongue that you just can't grasp. I mean, that's the best way I can explain it. I know I dream at night.
Yeah.
But it's like I can't remember exactly what I'm dreaming. I mean, I get different, like, I don't know if you could call it intuition. So I
Yeah.
don't know if that's like telepathic downloads, but I feel I know some things, but don't know how I know them, if you can understand what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because a lot of times when we dream, then when we wake up, then we remember for about 10 to 20 seconds, and then it just kind of slides into obscurity.
Correct.
But maybe keep a little electronic device with you, and as soon as you wake up, if you have the memory of the dream, just talk in a little bit of key words or something, and maybe that can jog your memory later on.
Yeah, I will do that. Another thing I want to do is when I can, I mean, it takes some finances. I would like to take a lie detector test, to
Yeah.
prove the claim, and maybe see a dermatologist or chemist or someone who could maybe take some skin samples of the tattoo itself to see exactly what kind of chemical composition may be involved in the tattoo.
Yeah. Another thing that I think could be very helpful, find a good hypnotist.
Yes, hypnotic regression. I've also considered that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be you're going to find some things, you're going to remember some things that will be and that doesn't necessarily have to be in your local area only. They could be done from a distance on the telephone, actually.
Well, that's true, or maybe over the internet. Yeah.
Yeah, it can. Do you have any sensation of who they may have been and why? Why you?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I've trying to ration that out, and I played it over and over again in my mind. I believe that I guess they pick, whoever it is for a reason, but for me to be able to, say what that reason is, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I'll almost guarantee you that it wasn't just a random incident. There is a reason for it.
Well, yes, I mean to be marked with a tattoo, I would think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so after this happened to you, how did you observe that that you have some healing powers, or you had it before?
I guess it was to Augie there that I used to practice a little bit with my daughters when they were younger, and they would have a headache, I'd be able to ease it up and stuff, but never really pursued it. But after the abduction, I went down that path, and what transpired was actually amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, now you haven't really gone big time with it yet, probably, but for the people that come to you, you told me an incident was a kind of like a phenomenal success story about this tumor that was shrunk. Maybe you
Yeah,
could recite that one for us again.
sure, I can explain that. A buddy of mine who used to live in my area, he became a truck driver, and he's been doing that for maybe, I don't know, 10 years now. But in any event, he lives in Indiana, and he contacted me and told me that he had rectal cancer, and he was diagnosed with rectal cancer. He had a tumor 2.5 inches long and 2 inches wide.
Ooh.
And he took his first 2 treatments of radiation, and obviously that sort of like enhanced the pain and stuff and whatnot when he was, going to the bathroom, and he couldn't stand it. I mean, it was so excruciating that he stopped the treatments. So they scheduled surgery. I guess it was like maybe 6 or 8 weeks after that. And during that course of time, we did sessions on the internet. We did like 20-minute sessions 3 nights a week for them 6 to 8 weeks. And when he finally went for surgery, the doctor told him that he's been doing that for over 20-something years, and he's never seen anything like it. And John said, "Well, what do you mean?" And the doctor said, when I went into to remove the tumor, it was the thickness and the size of a dime. So obviously something worked. And I still say that if his surgery was scheduled further down the road at that point, probably when he would have went in there, that the tumor would have probably been completely gone. But
Yeah, I am sure. Because from 2.5 inch down to a dime, that is a dime is only 1 centimeter, and
Yeah,
that's
I mean, the surgeon himself said that technically, by all intents and purposes, it should have only shrank maybe, a quarter of an inch or whatever. Uh,
yeah.
because he had no therapy at all, between the time that he stopped the radiation treatments to his surgery.
Hmm. For I think that it is very likely that those alien beings, they gave you something. Have you looked around everywhere on your body, and do you think you have any implants anywhere? Maybe a small chip or something?
Um, I do have something in my left palm that I'm not sure what it is. It's oh, excuse me, wait a minute. Let me turn this off here. Um, I'm not sure what it is. It's kind of like it's hard to explain. Let's see, my left hand little finger there. I can't straighten it out completely. I don't know if it's something to do with the ligament, but when I feel that, it's hot as a rock. So I don't know whether that it
Huh?
wasn't like that before the abduction. It became that way after the abduction. So I don't know if there's something in there, maybe.
Hmm. Yeah, you need to take an X-ray of that.
Yes, yeah, that's another idea. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You got several things going on here that you need to investigate, because I think there is some real explanations for both your healing and why you may have been chosen, possibly.
hmm And there's another incident. Another fellow named Pete. He had a lung X-ray, and they noticed a spot on his lung or tumor, whatever that was, and they tried getting a biopsy through his back twice, but were unable to determine whether it was malignant or benign. So
Hmm.
they suggested that he go for surgery, and he was telling me, well, he didn't want to go for surgery. He didn't want to go under the knife.
Yeah.
So he was actually a roommate of mine for a period of time. But anyway, this one rainy day, we're sitting around doing nothing. I said, well, you want to try a session and see if we can help you out? He said, sure. And now this wasn't over the internet. I mean, we were in the same room together here. And
In person. Yeah.
I ran my hands over his chest and all that. And he said he could feel the energy. And I mean, this sounds bizarre, but I can have him attest to this. Um, what I did was I motioned that I just pulled it out. And his reaction was he screamed. He was in pain. Um, and what happened after that, he was like groggy and stuff. So he fell asleep, and he was just like in and out of it for like 3 days. He would get up to go to the bathroom and then um, go get a bowl of cereal and go right back to sleep. And about 2 weeks after that, he went into a walk-in center and had x-rays done on his lungs. And the doctor told him that they could see that there was something there, but all that is there now is scar tissue.
Ah. When you said you put your hand on his chest, was that the same hand as have that, should I call it, implant in it?
Uh, Actually, no, because that's on my left hand and I'm
Oh,
right-handed.
okay. I was wondering about that, because these implants, they found that they have different purposes. Some people, after they get one, they become very psychic,
Uh-huh.
and some other people, they become healers, and others, they don't really feel anything. They may be just there to monitor what they're doing and maybe guide them in their thinking or something. So there could be many different reasons for it. And
It goes, I get things now and then, but I don't initiate it. It's something that I don't practice or try to do.
yeah,
But there's been times that I'll be talking to someone and something will just hit me so hard that I just begin talking about it, if you can
yeah.
understand what I mean,
Mhm. Hmm. So when did you have that abduction that you thought maybe they gave you something?
I'm sorry, you cut out there. I wasn't able to hear that.
Yeah. When did you have this experience?
The abduction?
Yes.
Yeah, it was in the fall of 2013.
So you kind of been doing the healing then since about that time, huh?
Well, yeah, I started out slowly and then just gained momentum with it. But like I said, I held this in for, let's see, about four and a half years, I think,
Mm-hmm.
before I started going public with it. But now that I've gone public with it, I'm more relaxed and I feel much better within myself, if you can understand what I mean by that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I know that feeling. There's stuff that I was sitting on for a while too, but now it's out there. So I know that feeling because then you feel like you're actually honest with yourself.
Exactly. I know there's naysayers, but I don't blame them for that, because maybe if I was on the other side, I'd be a naysayer myself. But I can't deny what I've experienced.
Yeah. And there's going to be critics everywhere. If you look at a critic, they never really create or do anything great in their life anyway. They're too critical, they're too negative about things. There is this saying, that for the ones that have had the experience, no no explanation is necessary. For the ones that had not had the experience, no explanation is possible.
Correct. I agree with that.
Yeah. So
Well,
until the naysayers see something of their own, then they're gonna be just that, skeptics. And the thing about it is that they're good people, and we need them because there are some times that we need a skeptic to point out where we are going off the rails sometimes.
hmm
Because I know that I'm gullible when it comes to pictures and things, and a skeptic might point out for me that, look here, here's something, you can see that makes it a fake picture. So
uh-huh.
I need the
Oh
skeptics.
yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of deception out there. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, we need those people, and there's a lot of them, so we got them. Now, the energy that you are probably sending out, where do you think that energy come from?
I believe it is a source, and what that source is a universal energy.
Yeah.
It's the energy that makes all things possible. In other words, in my view, it is what most people refer to as the God, the soul, or the spirit.
Yeah. Well,
And I believe how it works is that you're able to harness and utilize that energy for the purpose of healing.
mhm.
Now, one may ask, well, if you're in Massachusetts and you can do a healing session over the internet and the other party is in Indiana, how is that possible? Well, the same energy that's around me here in Massachusetts is the same energy that's around that other person in Indiana. So all I got to do is channel it to where I want it to go. It's already there. I don't have to send it from here to there. It's already there.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything is connected.
One big matrix.
Yeah. It's the web of creation outside of the physical, because that's what quantum mechanics is all about. And because outside of the physical, we have this space and time does not necessarily work the same way. Because
Correct.
it is all sitting in that soup of creation out there, and you have events from the past as we see it, and events in the present, and events in the future that we have thought of but have not been able to live yet.
hmm
They're sitting in that soup of creation. So we are really, when we look in there, we can attach to something, and there's really no distance between the past and the future or the present.
I agree with that.
So we could you could talk from the East Coast to somebody in Indiana, and you are in the same super creation outside of the physical where things can happen.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, it's a lot of people, it's something that a lot of people don't understand, but, I guess the first step would be to start thinking out of the box.
Yeah, absolutely. And now, when you do your healing, are you using any tools, or is it just mostly?
I do use quartz crystal, different gems, and I recently got a beautiful stone that I love working with. It's called shungite, and it's shungite with the element. It's predominantly made up of carbon, but it also contains the element of fullerene. And this particular stone, shungite stone, gives out an energetic frequency, pulsating frequency. I can take a Holmes meter and attach both electrodes, one to each side of the stone, and it'll actually give off a pulsating frequency. That's the only one. I've got a variety of stones that I work with, and that's the only one that gives off any type of frequency. It's constantly emitting and receiving energy. It's a wonderful healing tool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. It's pyramid shaped, and it's probably, I'd say, like 3 inches by 3 inches and 3 inches high.
How did you get that stone? Was that through a normal
I
gem?
started researching it online. As a matter of fact, the only place that you can get this stone is in Russia. That's got the element fullerene, where it energizes itself. It's also found in Canada and I believe Colorado, if I'm not mistaken. And them other two areas, it's shungite technically, but it doesn't have the element fullerene where it'll give out the energetic frequency. The only one with the energetic frequency with the element fullerene is from Russia.
Yeah, we have a gem show here in Tucson, in February every year. And I've seen those shungite stones. Some of them are fairly big, actually, and others, they're just maybe a half of a fingernail.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked to a guy from Austria. He was selling them. And he mentioned also the electric properties. The electric properties of the stone that is totally different than anything except for a elongated crystal. If you put it under pressure, then you can get electric energy out of that elongated crystal, but very little.
I'll tell you another example of the stone here and what I've done with it. That gentleman, Larry, that I mentioned, the Photoshop expert, he had a laptop and he had a new battery in it for a while. The old battery he was using for years, he just took it out, put it aside, put the new battery in. And I guess they got some kind of power surge where it fried the new battery.
Oh.
So I was online with him one day, and he was on his iPad, I guess, but we were communicating online, and he explained to me that he tried charging the old battery and it wouldn't take a charge. So I said to him, well, let's do an experiment. And he said, well, what's that? I said, well, why don't, because he's got a shungite stone that one of his friends sent him. That he's in California, but anyway, he has a small shungite stone. I said, hold that shungite stone on your battery there, on your lap, and I'm going to send some signals from here with this shungite stone and see if we can get that battery to charge again. And let the truth be known and told that we did that for about 5 minutes. And how I did it was I had the Holmes meter hooked up to this with a signal, pulsating signal that could be heard on his end. And we did that for about 5 minutes, and he checked the battery. It was 19% charged. And
Wow.
then, so that was sort of like a small scientific experiment, if you will. And then he put it on charge, I guess, or whatever. And I guess about maybe a half hour later, it was back up to 100%. This was like 2 months ago, and he's still using it. Still using that same battery, the old battery.
So he put his shungite stone on the battery then?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So yeah, and it's really hard to
That's
know.
like scientific proof that it actually works.
Yeah. So it's kind of hard to know if it was entirely his stone that did it, or if you were supporting the energy coming out of his stone.
Well, that's true too. Yeah, I guess it's questionable there, but whatever it was, it did work.
Well, obviously shungite.
Shungite, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a incredible stone.
Yeah, the guy from Austria that I talked to at the gem show here, he said this stone is so rare. He said that you don't find it on hardly anywhere. He used the one out of Russia too, and that's the only stones he had of the shungite.
Yeah.
So
I recommend this stone. I mean, this stone here, I'm at awe with it. I mean, I can't believe how wonderful it is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, then for what you are doing with these stones, can you use this stone in distance healing with people then, or do you more or less have to have them in the same room?
Oh, no, it can be done at a distance.
Uh-huh. How would you go about that?
Well, what I do is through Messenger, we're in contact, both audio and video, and I suggest that if they can get a stone of their own, something that resonates with them, they hold on to it. And what I do is I play what I've been doing recently with the shungite stone is just emitting the audio signal that it emits so that it can be heard by them as well, hooked up to the ohms meter.
Yeah.
And I do it that way and concentrate on whatever is ailing them.
How much electricity, when you put the ohm meter on, how much electricity do you get out of it?
It pulsates between, like, I would say maybe 3 to 7. Now, I don't know if that's microvolts or what it is exactly, but I have the ohms meter set on frequency setting.
Mm-hmm. If you or someone took the stone and held on to, let's say, each side of it, do you feel any electricity or any tingling or something?
Well, I do feel like a vibration type energy when I'm using it during the healing sessions. I hold my left hand over the stone itself, and I can feel some type of sensation, more like a vibration, not a heavy vibration, but I can feel it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the organs of the body, they usually work on millivolts. You got to have there's a book out there called "Healing is Voltage." And
Yes, well, everything is electricity. We're electricity. That's what moves us.
yeah, that's what Dr. Tennant found out, that to heal, you got to have at least 50 millivolts.
Mm-hmm.
In anything less than that, then you are draining energy from the body.
Mm-hmm.
So this one here could probably help to charge the body, and
Bring it up to the level that it needs. Yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't sound like he was able, energy from the shungite actually was transferred into the battery for the computer, because that probably wouldn't be enough, but it could have done something to heal what was in the battery that may have been worn down or something to that effect.
Yeah, well, like I said, he had that battery for years, he claims, and it was just totally drained.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another stone I like working with is opal too, but that's very expensive, the opal.
Yeah. What are the special properties of the opal then?
Well, I resonate with that. There's different types of stones that work better for different individuals, you know, depending on whether, you know, what type of stone resonates with them.
Yeah. So, have you done any group healings?
Any what?
Any group healings?
No. I did a healing the other night. Well, can't not necessarily classify it as a healing, but I have another friend that we did this over Messenger, and his sugar levels are high and stuff. He's diabetic, and what I did was we did a session. I concentrated on his pancreas and did what I had to do for it was about a 20-minute session. And he said to me, you know, like about maybe he had to go urinate like 6 or 7 times within a half hour. So basically, what that was doing was flushing him out.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Well,
do you have to know the diagnosis, or it's simply that somebody contacts you and you can see what they have and just remove the disorder?
Well, I mean, I could do like a general healing, or you know, maybe basically they let me know what ails them, and then when I do my healing sessions, I concentrate on that particular ailment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then if you were concentrating on the whole body, then the body itself will probably know where it is needed, so it could funnel it to that area. Or there may be other things wrong in the body that also would get the healing without you even knowing it.
Well, exactly, and I'm also convinced that it can work for, you know, rejuvenation, a little bit more energy. I mean, if you're feeling a little drained or whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is something that you know, a lot of the skeptics, they are looking at healing like this. If it isn't written out by a doctor, then it is nothing. And
Yes, a lot of people they don't realize that holistic, you know, medicine is can be just as effective and a lot cheaper.
Yeah, and you mentioned diabetes. It is so simple to cure. So simple.
Well, diet is a main thing too with
Yeah.
that. But yeah.
There's a clinic in southern Arizona down here next to the Mexican border. Dr. Cousins down there, he said people that come here, he usually cures them in 30 days. Because he teaches them how to eat raw natural foods, because there's gonna have to be a change in lifestyle, because if all you eat is hamburgers from McDonald's and Twinkies, you know, things are gonna go bad.
Oh yeah, that's no good for the system, you know.
No, so and it's 30 days, it's good enough, and that's same thing with most other diseases. There are cures out there, but the pharmaceutical company, their philosophy is that a cured patient is a lost customer.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And what they do is they feed you with medications that have side effects, and then add more medications to counteract that side effect, and you're just a walking drugstore.
Yeah, they're brilliant. Boy, do they know how to make money.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's a $1 billion industry.
Oh, absolutely. That's there will be a day when they are get restitution. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. We also here in the United States, we have something called the functional doctors, and they are the ones that is an MD, but they also go outside of their guidelines for the MD, and they use natural medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And I know one of those guys here in Tucson, and we were talking one time, and he mentioned something about oxygen. And he says, yeah, why not? I told him about the hyperventilation that I do to clear out colds and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Oxygen cures everything.
That's right. It can even cure cancer.
Yes, it does.
Yep. Well, there's a lot of natural plants, herbs, and things like that that can cure cancer. My mom, God rest her soul, she lived till 98,
Hmm.
and she ate raw garlic. She loved raw garlic, and I believe that's what kept her in good health all them years.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, raw garlic that could be, is good for your health, but you may lose your friends over it.
Well, you got to
And you
figure
may
out.
lose also your job in Germany.
Yeah, we got
Ah,
to
that's
figure
true.
out which is more important, I guess.
Yeah. Oh well. Now, have you looked into herbal medicine to use in conjunction with the kind of healing that you do?
No, I haven't. I've been on this path here, but I'm aware of that other option as well, and I believe that that is another option that is much better than, the medical field or the big pharmaceutical companies.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And the thing is that sometimes when the disease is bad enough, the shotgun effect that works.
Right.
Because if you're using herbal medicine and oxygen and then the healing that you do, you add all of the things together,
Hmm.
that may be what can do it if it is really severe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, we
And
just,
and my buddy John there that I did the tumor healing with there with the rectum there, he that was like about 4.5 years ago, and he's still cancer free.
really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I bet you guys became good friends.
Oh, we were actually friends prior to that. He
Yeah.
lived in my area, but then he left. He was gone for about 10 years before that happened. He became a truck driver over the road, and he relocated to Indiana.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, maybe you should look into herbal medicine to supplement maybe a
Oh
little.
yeah, yeah, that's an idea, sure.
Hmm. Because there is some good things there, and I've studied it some, and there are some phenomenal things because the creator here, the it or he or she or whatever it is, put the remedy to just about any disease in nature around us.
I believe that.
Yeah, and when we lived off the land, we stayed healthy.
Well, we're from the earth anyway. We have all the elements that the earth has. Iron, all them elements that are in our bodies. Water.
Yeah, yeah. Hmm. Now, you had this experience when you evidently met someone and they took you somewhere and gave you something, and have they come back or has it been only that one time?
Well, I can only say that it's been that one time that I'm aware of.
Yeah. Hmm.
I mean, I've seen, well, to me, what appears to be alien craft here and there. I live about 7 miles from a place called Freetown State Forest, and it's also known as the Bridgewater Triangle,
Mm.
which encompasses a few cities in the area and towns.
Uh-huh.
And there's a lot of paranormal activity that occurs in that area.
Mm. Yeah. And let me ask you this goofy question. If you were out in nature and a ship landed in front of you and somebody invited you to come aboard, would you go?
I can honestly say that I would.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, from what I can feel inside me, full disclosure isn't going to be long from now. Um, and where it's going to take place is at Bach Towers in Florida.
The what?
Bach Towers. It's like a bird sanctuary in Florida, and it is the highest level of. Florida's a flat state, but that's the highest area in Florida, and I believe that's going to be the first public UFO landing regarding full disclosure.
How did you come up with that?
It's hard to explain. I can feel it. That's the only way I can describe it right now.
Have you been there?
I have been to Bok Towers. I was there probably about 6 years ago or 7 years ago. I also have a son and daughter who live in Florida. My son Jim lives in Lake Wales, and my daughter Chantel lives in Lake Placid. I'm planning to relocate to Florida myself from Massachusetts.
Oh, okay.
And yeah. I'm going to relocate into the Lake Wales area down in Florida.
Florida is a pretty flat state, so and they got a lot of wind down there in the fall and the summer sometimes, so you got to be prepared for that.
Yeah, well, that's okay. I'll escape these cold winters.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, guess why I'm in Tucson.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure. And what is next for you now? What are you planning? Are you planning to? I know there are several things.
I somehow feel that I'm going to take a major role in full disclosure. I'm going to keep pursuing my spiritual healing, and I'm not impatient in any way for anything to transpire, because my belief is that everything will happen when it's supposed to.
Yeah, I'm sure of that. And I'm suggesting too that try to find a hypnotist.
Yes, I've thought about that. Trying to get my things together, everything together. Like I say, right now I'm in the process of, trying to set everything up for relocating right now.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's quite a few hypnotists that do this over Skype or the telephone, and get some good results. So you really should look in, because once you go back and can remember the incident, then most of the other things will unfold.
Will fall into place, yeah.
Yeah. Because they know how to subdue the memories of it. But the thing is that in dreams, often that you remember anyway. They're not able to control the dreams, because that comes out of the subconscious. It's the channel to conscious understanding that is affected. So I think that if you can probably
I find that most of that occurs like right between the it's hard to explain it, between the time that you're like somewhere in between the time of being awake and just falling asleep.
Yeah, that's where you are, down in the alpha range of brainwave pattern, and the subconscious is closest to the surface.
That's it, the alpha state. That's what I was trying to think of.
Yeah, this is so interesting, because I think you find that hypnotist, and I know a few that I could recommend to you, and I tell you, that's...
What do they charge for something like that?
Oh, I don't know. It's not much, I don't think.
No.
But I tell you, that is going to be one of the most important things that you do.
Yeah, that's something I'm willing to do,
yeah. Yeah, that's once you start remembering or recording your incident and the memory of the incident, even if you get a little bit of it, then
that'll help. That'll probably help trigger the memory.
The trigger, and it'll pull the rest of it out. This all attached to a string down there somewhere, and when you start pulling on the string, things come out. And also, it would be fun to see what is in your hand, because that, if you didn't have it before the incident, then it was put there. You don't see any scars, do you?
Pardon me?
There's no scar where that thing is.
No, it's just it's hard to explain. It's like the ligament itself protrudes up through the palm.
Yeah.
And to the finger. And like I say, if I open my hand, I can't open that finger all the way.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. Something is stretching, or yeah.
Dope.
Yeah. So how can people get a hold of you if they want to do a healing with you?
Well, I'm on Facebook, and I've also got a Facebook page, the Alien Connection Truth Network.
Uh-huh.
It's got over 106,000 members. That's the group I started after the abduction, which, of course, the abduction was what inspired me to do so. And I've got that going on. I do live videos every now and then on there. So if anybody wants to look me up on Facebook, they can private message me. My name is Jim Andre, J-I-M, and the last name is spelled A-N-D-R-E.
That sounds good. Yeah, I've been posting on that Facebook page long before I got to know you.
Yeah, and see, I think it was meant for you and I to connect.
I think so. Yeah. Well, I think we are about down to the end here, so I think we're going to have music anytime. So it was sure wonderful to have you on. I wanted to hear the whole story of how it happened to you, and now we heard that, and now you got some things to do.
I do, yeah.
Discover your past.
Yes, sir.
That'll be interesting.
And I want to thank you for having me.
You're certainly welcome. So now we will call it quits here for this time, and we will be back next week with the Universal Consciousness Show. And until then, take care of each other.
Thank you. Bye-bye.